What am I doing today? Other than the usual nothing. Um, just making a factory, a frog factory, and that sounds ridiculous, but it's a thing. Um, Essentially just taking all the setup, just currently all over the place, like all these different classes, and sort of putting them in the same spot. Not exactly the same spot, but instead of running all the setups just in there in a week and trying to work out what the settings are, which is going to become a mess because I've got like different settings. This makes no sense. I'm terrible at explaining that thing here. Essentially this. Um, the game's on working on mobile now, so the game has to work out if it is on mobile, and if it is it, like a single player, or is it split screen? And then it does different things if it's, with like the UI and the controls, if it's on PC or mobile, and then different again if it's on single player or which split screen it is. Um, so yeah, that's where I'm at. It's a lot of staring at words, trying to figure out what to write, because there's 50 million ways of writing this, and most of them are wrong. So I'm trying not to do the wrong thing. I'm trying to, I don't know if I want to make these all interfaces or like abstract classes or what, or just hook them up like this. I don't know. And whatever I try, it's definitely going to be the wrong one. Um, so the settings thing, which needs to be set somewhere, and I think it starts over here in this collection. In this awake. At some point, I'm trying to avoid these awaken starts because these tend to cause problems when you got a lot of them, and they're confusing to work with. But you need them at some point. So there's definitely going to be one here, and then this needs to be read. And this is how it works right now. This is the switch. This is just working for PC. If it's single player, it creates a single player frog prefab. I want to get rid of these as well. These different prefabs, because otherwise I'm going to have like 12 different prefabs for slight settings variations. So for the PC, it was just a single player, and then there's a split screen one, and then a split screen two, like top and bottom. And it just instantiates the prefab, and everything's already set. So I'm more scared to do this, but I know I've got version control right here. I'm gonna like delete this. I kind of like keeping it there for a while to read what it was, so I sort of know what I'm doing. Essentially, this needs to say, where's this GM player mode? Where's this being set? This is being set from the main menu right now, which is kind of weird, if I remember right. Yeah. So here's just a bunch of static variables, essentially. Already got this mode thing. I knew it was somewhere, vaguely. I just didn't really think about it, because I've got this again. Where is it? Here? Yeah. View mode. We got single, split one, and split two. But if we come to GM, there's single and split screen. What uses this? This might be useful. I wanted that to pop out. Why are you going down there? Come on, out you come. What do we got? GM itself. This is the main menu. This is where it gets set. And what's that? It's using it. I think that's all it does. It just gets set in the main menu and it gets used in this switch block. Which kind of makes sense because this play mode thing is only ever going to be in one setting, so like per game, right? But then this is more detailed because this is like which player you are. Before it's just like single or split screen, and then information about which frog it actually is, which we need. So trying to get back to GM because it's not pinned. Oh, what did I just do? I pulled something out and then it disappeared. Goodbye, I guess, whatever that was. There's GM, pin that. It's going to be a lot of this, by the way. Not a lot of coding, because the actual amount of code is pretty minimal. It's just how it gets coded is always the hard bit. Player mode equals single. Oh, it's the actual thing in there. Okay. So I've got this frog factory, which I don't really see there ever being multiple of. Well, there's this one per frog collection, which is currently done in such a way there could be multiple of them, but there isn't. It's like it's a frog collection per level. I haven't done levels really yet. There's one level right now. I want to keep the options open. Maybe that would have been useful having like 2 levels to know how like the level system would work. But it's just 1 level. I'm just trying to think, how does the menu tell where is it? Top? Okay. No. This. How does the menu set these? This is per frog, right? Each frog is a PC or mobile frog, which should not really be per frog, really, right? Unless it's crossplay. I don't know how crossplay works. Maybe I'll leave it. Maybe not. I don't know. I've never done like multiplayer over different systems. Or really multiplayer at all. So it's going to be a PC or a mobile frog. And there's going to be a single player or a split screen or a split screen 2. Split top or split bottom. Split top. Split bottom. Sure. And there's this frog settings thing, which is on the frog. Over here. Which is what we're trying to set. There used to be some system when you actually load into level, right? Because right now you load into level and essentially just this runs. But it needs to know if you clicked split screen at the main menu or if you clicked single player, which is this time. I guess we just keep that. Player mode, play mode. Defaults to single, okay. Kind of makes sense. Let me work out what platform we're on. So, I think we copy this. Where is it? Here it is. So we can just make an instance of it. And need to copy it. Right here. Platform. And then we'll just do this as I can compile it if unity unity and Android Well, PC. What? What? Infinity Android. This is what I want. Why is it not giving it to me? If this. And diff. Okay. I hate how these never inline themselves as well. It's really annoying. You could manually tab yourself. I'm gonna write it out here so I actually get intelligence. One dot. It should be Android actually. Space is specific. And go else. Elif. Unity. Is it just PC? I don't know, it's not telling me. If I put garbage here, does it tell me if it's wrong? No. So this might just not do any. Why is this broken? I put it here. If huh. That's weird. It's strange. I mean, it works. This I know this bit works. Collection. There we go. I'm getting confused with these, what script I actually want to go to. I just have an else. One is PC. So we got that, and then we got single player or split screen, which is what we need. This just calls this thing. What do I really need? Okay. I don't think I'm doing this anymore. I'm really calling the factory. Do I have a reference to a factory? Yep. So factory. I don't even know if there's a thing in here yet. We got create frog. That's what we want. And then we need to give it the information. So it needs to like ask for the information. Because otherwise that makes no sense. And we should set this factory's mode, maybe? Like set its platform. I'm just trying to think, is there ever a case where I might want to have a factory that makes a PC frog and a mobile frog, and it's the same factory? I don't think there will be, but I don't know. I don't know how that works. Like I said, I don't know how crossplay. How crossplay? I don't know. So maybe I'll just be careful. I'll just give it both of them. So we want a platform, and then we also want, what did I call the other thing? Like view mode. View mode. We want those. Okay. I'm trying, just trying to reorder this so I know where stuff is. I don't know where it went. I took it out. It unpinned it. Is it a new window? No, there it is. Just want it up the top. Thank you. Oh, this is wrong. I know. I'll get to you in just a moment. If we're single, we want to do. We actually just don't need the switch block. It wants the view mode and the platform first. So platform view mode. But lowercase. And so we don't have this. But this is actually we just want to tell it if it's split screen or not. So if whoops. Split screen. What do I have in that switch block? GM play mode, that's it. Play mode. Split screen. I'm just gonna make the mode that. Mode equals. Hold on. If it's split screen, we need to do this twice. So mode dot split top, and then that again. Bottom. Okay. Only thing I don't like is this indentation. Everything else is cleaner than it was. Is it the right place to even do this? I think it makes more sense here. Session settings. Okay, these are constants, and that's stuff. Okay. Hang on. It's this. Right? No, it's not that. It's platform. Public. Which now doesn't make sense, because why is it an instance of the front? It should just be a thing in the GM. PC and Android. It should be like GM.platform. And doing it here, and I don't need to do it here. Kind of beats the point of this class, really, if it's only got one thing in it. But yeah, I don't think we need this. Well, maybe we do. Because, like, if you're on, I don't know, hypothetically, if someone on a phone is playing with someone on a PC, then they need to be able to ask, like, this frog, hey, what, like, platform are you on? Potentially. Um, it's got no references, right? Yeah. I don't know, I feel like that's a bad idea. Like, you shouldn't have to know what platform the thing you're interacting with is on, right? Unless there's some weird networking thing there, but can I just unpin something? I'm pretty sure I just unpinned something. I don't know what it was. Hmm. I'm never gonna find it. I think it was. Yeah, it's not that. It's this. Okay. Platform could not be found. Jam dot platform. Yeah, we go. Okay. Where's the collection? Search bar? Hello? Search in here then. Keep accidentally unpinning stuff somehow. So we don't want this. This is just gonna be GM dot platform. Right? Which doesn't exist yet. Because I need to do this if right. If why doesn't it autofill? It's so weird. Else and end of this is what's wrong? See, instant meters standard class. Static. Okay, that should work in theory. Until this break says I don't know what the PC version of that is. It's not in here, is it? No. You have to go to Google. Otherwise, this will bite me in the ass later. What are they called? definition, is it? In F. There's a word. There's a word for this that if I Google it, it'll straight up give it to me. Editor. Standalone. See, this Android. Facebook? Interesting. How do you check if it's just like a PC, Mac OS, or Linux? That one. Okay. This should be a read-only, or constant even. Can a read-only constant? Just do it in front of this. Which means it doesn't even have to be static at that point. That makes more sense, because if we're changing it at compile, and that's the only time it changes. Cool. This now just doesn't make sense being a parameter, because it's never going to change once the game starts. So I'm not even going to ask for it. We know what it is, because it's in the GM. We just don't know what this is. So I think all this is the same. Everything here so far is the same. It's just this stuff that we're going to put in this. It's going to change. So this needs like view mode. I wasn't sure to make these interfaces or not, or like abstract classes or whatever. We don't call this yet, so I need to call that somewhere. It should be here. Set up. Dot. If dot set up, but set up. That's kind of weird, but set up. And we want this view mode here. This whole thing's a weird Unity workaround, by the way. Like when you instantiate stuff, it immediately starts going through like these awake functions, which you have no control over, like the order of, and you can't send parameters into these, which is the big thing of why I'm doing this, because I needed these to do different stuff depending on what these settings were. So it instantiates it, and when this thing gets instantiated, it just has this awake function. It says whenever this is a static, and it's got this factory in it. So whatever factory it is, which is going to be this, because we set the factory right here. We say this is the factory that's doing this right now, and it's static, so everything can access it. And then so whatever factory this frog has been made by is now doing the setup. It's really weird. I don't like it, but That's how it's gonna be. Unity. Let me do set up frog this. So this happens maybe kind of as this gets instantiated. We don't know because Unity calls the awake functions at random times. Well, not random, but uncontrollable. An uncontrollable order. You don't know what order the function is going to be called in. So setup like this. The thing's called setup, so that we don't clutter up this frog with a setup method. But then the method's called setup. Unless, where is it? This is the frog, right? Yeah. Frog setup. If this is a not public, but then there's a method here. It's like public. See, setup. Just calls setup. Setup. Is that allowed? View mode. That's allowed. It's an extra line. Just to avoid this. So I could just do if.setup. I don't know. It's just moving the problem somewhere else. Really? So let's do it. You get this view mode into the frog somehow. So in the setup, we got this is a parameter, but it can't be because we have the information here, and then the moment it starts instantiating and gets to this, we don't have it because you can't send information through this instantiate thing. So the only way to do it then is to actually make this a variable. Like that. And now before we do this instantiation, it's like the moment this runs, you lose control. Frog. Yeah, not capital frog. Wait, we can't do this because the frog doesn't actually exist. Right. Forgot about that. Hmm. This is where this class comes back. This static start settings thing. This is like everything to do with the frog that is currently being created, but it isn't actually the frog that's currently being created. It's just the information about it. So set up this thing I just did here. We don't even need to use it as a parameter now. Just put it in this. It has to be static. And now I can do this. View mode. Which is like, why am I passing it in at this point? I guess it removes the clutter from here, right? Yeah, because you'd have to do it and then do it again. You'd have to rewrite it like 3 times. So we should have this information now. Go start settings. We need to use where it is. It's like, what is it in? It's in collections. See, because this whole thing is just a workaround. Everything's kind of wrong. Everything definitely seems wrong. It just seems weird that I have to now in setup, say using stop collections. And now I can do this. Start settings to view mode. Now we can do stuff. This is where we actually can start changing things. What I might do actually is just print the information we get out of this to make sure it's right. Log this. Jam.platform. Log that. That's all I want to do. I just want to make sure I can get to here. And I'm sure there's going to be a compile error somewhere. Where is it? Where's the problem? No? No problem? Huh. I'm not even sure if the frog gets created right now. Well, it gets instantiated, but I don't know if it like gets fully set up. It should get pretty much set up. Actually, I don't think everything's still running in like start in a week. So it still should still work. Null reference. Great. Factory.create frog is a null reference. Factory is nothing. Okay. There needs to be a factory per collection. Okay. Does that make sense from the viewpoint of the factory? We have a collection that we know about, and we have a prefab. That's all it needs. We just pass this in as a parameter here. And then you don't actually need to have one per collection. It's very abstract, but whatever. This is what I'm going to do. I take this, look it on the end. This still needs to be serialized field. Now we need collection here and here. So sort of just treat this like a weird kind of constructor for a moment. See, that's strange, because now this collection has to call with itself as a parameter 3 times, which I don't really like. What I could do is this factory actually doesn't even need to be a mono behavior at all. And if we do the same thing with this, and then we make an actual constructor here, public frog factory, like that. And then we're going to take in this, actually just from here. The collection and this prefab thing. Collection minus and this stuff frog. Now this doesn't work because it needs to be game. That's fine. This needs to be collection game object transform, right? I think I just did collection to transform. That's fine. Name can be simplified. Really? Does that work? Is that a thing? Last unique object. What's the difference between this and game object? Story, objective type. There's so many variants of that. Few variants of instantiate as well. You can give it like positions and rotations, but that's pretty much what we can do. And a parent. Get hash code. I've done this before. I haven't done hash code. I don't know what the difference between these two. ID and hash. Interesting. Take me back. Back, please. Alright, back. I can just close this. I'm just gonna, I'm gonna trust it. Whatever. So we construct it now. That's so cool. Got this frog start settings, right? But it shouldn't be static to this. Wouldn't that make more sense? So is this used at all? Find references. Find references. No, it's just a write. I don't think we need this. Do I need this? This, null, and... I'm just thinking I could change it so that essentially this factory thing is a singleton. So there's only one factory. Let's go factory.setUpFrog, this frog. Which might just make more sense. And then, would this whole thing be static? Would that work? I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think the whole thing being static is great. Because then there wouldn't be a constructor for all this stuff. And then you'd have to weirdly set it like before you use the factory and hope that like no one else or something else doesn't use it while you're doing it. So I'm going to keep that as it is. Weird, but whatever. I kind of want to put a comment there like, yeah, this is weird, but it's like how it is. Like the best way I could think of doing it. Weird, but Unity doesn't have a nice way of setting parameters for instantiate. Sure. This is kind of the only time I'd put comments down is like when you're explaining why you're doing something this way. Not, you shouldn't like, well, at least in my opinion, you shouldn't write what you're doing. You should just be able to read what you're doing. Like, create frog, set up frog is add to collection and add to level. And then that's add collection and that's add to level. And instead of putting these all in one method and commenting like add to level, you know, there, you can just name it, add to level. But you wouldn't want to name your class like this. Public static weird, but Unity doesn't have a nice way of, you know, that itself would be weird. It would be very meta. Can I run the game now? No, I can't, because I need to actually make an instance of this in here. This factory right now doesn't exist. New. New frog factory. And it can't be a serialized because it's not a mono behavior. So we need this, and I'm just going to give it a single player prefab because that's what we should be using. This base prefab, and now I'll get rid of these other two. So there's just one player prefab that has settings applied to it later. Which might make it hard to edit it, now that I think about it. Although the prefabs system also made it hard to edit with it while I was using that. Because otherwise I would have to duplicate essentially this line. I would have another 3 prefabs for mobile. And then there'll be probably one more is like a base for non-platform specific. And you'd have to have this giant switch statement going through, you know, all 7 prefabs. I don't know, this just seems cleaner. And then it also stitches all the dynamic settings, because there's still the dynamics stuff in code, even with the prefabs. There's this thing, which is changing the UI size based on the screen size, which is going to do no matter what prefab it is. If it's mobile, it does this. And even if it's PC, it should probably still do this, because if your screen isn't 16 by 9 and it doesn't do this, it'll be wrong. Setup. That's what I was trying to do, get this to run. It should run now, unless there's another issue. Did I save everything? Save. Clear. Transform does not exist. Right, this needs to be collection. Does it? Does that make sense? Spawn point is the frog. Sure. Okay, we're compiled. And now what's null? Something's gonna be null again. Surely. Yep, 2 things are null. Actually, a lot of things are null. If not setup is null. Okay, that makes sense. Here. Frog animation. I hate this set. For the animation thing to work, you have to have animations. And then you have to have the frog itself. So annoying. I was hoping to try way back. I was thinking of a system to just not have animations at all. Do everything by code. And just squish this transform through code. And then have physics work with it. And then you get really nice like squishing as well. Like instead of just, that's a whole different thing. I'm getting sidetracked talking about that. Maybe do that one day. If not set up, not set up. I don't think there is a setup script right now because I just made it. Frog setup is null. Set frog setup. Okay, and those are all weird scattered places, but see, this is why I'm hooking stuff up. It's easier to find things as well. Okay. Save. Single player. It's just getting booted right out. If we got to this though, a single player PC. If I run that again, in the split screen, split top PC, there should be another one printed that says split bottom PC. In theory. Add frog. ID frogs. Dot add. This is this dictionary in the frog collection, okay. Add. It's this line specifically, right? Yep. Instance frog. That doesn't make sense. This dictionary that's created here at the beginning of, compile, which is this, dot add, which is a function of a dictionary, with a parameter of this frog that's been passed in, and got through this function just fine. Apparently, that's null. Add frog is called twice. It's called here. So what we want to do. Because it's also called here, which is add to collection thing, which does that line too. I wonder if that fixes it. No? It's a frog null somehow. Add frog if, which is this, which is this, which is this frog that literally has to exist to pass itself as a frog. There's no way. Actually, let's just breakpoint. I'm gonna take a real quick break. Okay. Breakpoint. Cool. Did we attach? Looks attached. Okay. Enable. I'm gonna make a commit, actually. I haven't made a commit today. What's up? Good. Committing commitment. There we go. Looks like we're all attached up. Not yet. What were you doing the entire time I was away? Is it done? Play. Do it. Single player. Okay. How is this a null reference? Doesn't make any sense. Nothing is null. Frog is this frog, which we have, and this frog is the same frog, obviously. This frog's not null, and that's, a list. It's empty, but it's not null. It exists. Continue. What? Was it just not saved? Is the script just not compiled? Man, classic old put down a breakpoint, and then that actually fixes the bug. Yeah, what a good one. I love it. Let's just double check that. Single PC. Single PC. Cool. Do we get 2 if I do this? I'll clear it and then split screen. Split top PC, split bottom PC. Why do I have a single PC? That shouldn't happen. How many frogs do I have? Frogs? I have 3 frogs. I shouldn't have 3 frogs. Frog collection. Else. Okay. Split screen, do this. If not, do that. Save. Can I get out of debug mode, please? Probably gonna need it later anyway, so maybe I'll just leave it. Split top PC, split the bottom PC. Sweet. Scripts in this up. Yes. I got missing scripts. Missing script on the label. What was this? I hate how it doesn't tell you what it was. So I could put any script on this. And there's a few of those. Huh. What got removed? This commit. Or renamed. Um, hard. That's it. Hard. This means that that's been there for a while. Which means it's probably safe to just remove it. Saving failed. Is there another one? Save. Saving failed. Oh, there it is. Wave manager is missing. Huh. Hang on 1 minute. Label. Wave manager is a wave collection. If I just... Is this a prefab? I'm playing that. Hold on. Label. Label's not a prefab. Okay, I'm just gonna delete it. We're on the test scenes probably, but they were probably gonna be out of date anyway. Go back to menu. And I want to really quickly check this mobile. It's going to take a minute to switch platform. I just want to make sure it debugs, the right settings. And I hope you guys like loading screens. I love loading bars. Just looking at loading bars. It's a great time. Great time. I love it. Love just dragging them around. Everything's slower on mobile. You have to wait for stuff for longer. The build takes forever. We done? Looks like we're done. Yep. If I play. Split screen. Okay. Got errors. Oh, warnings. Okay. That's alright. Split top Android. Split bottom Android. Sweet. And if I go single player. Single player. Single Android. Cool. Obviously the camera's broken because those are the settings that are gonna get changed. I might just go back to PC, honestly, even though that's probably really annoying, but because I want to make sure this works first. So, yeah, it looks like I love switching the build. I love the loading bar, you know. I don't. I just need to know that debugging the right stuff. We'll continue because we know we're right up to where we are. And it's good. And Visual Studio is reloading. It's going to reload a bunch because I shouldn't even be looking at it. Now I should be looking at like this so it doesn't do that. I was gonna, like look at code, talk about it, but no, you can't do that when you're switching to build because it's constantly recompiling itself because stuff is changing. See, it's doing this and it's probably going to do it again. And now I can't even see the loading bar. Oh, there we go. We got it. Sweet. One of these warnings script is missing. Another one of these, Wave Manager. Wave Manager is a prefab for some reason. I don't know if I like that. Constantly will let's just try to do some cleanup. Just apply it. Can't even apply it. Applying is not possible. Into prefab mode and remove or recover the script. Removing the script. Save. And apply all. Okay. And that's all the warnings I'm going to do for now. So what's broken right now? I think single player on PC is the only thing that's correct. Which makes sense. That's what the settings are like default for. I get to the end of the level. Split screen is obviously not working. So we do have two frogs, right? The controls are not set, so I'm moving both of them at the same time. Theoretically, they should split up. Sometimes they'll just split. Maybe that doesn't happen anymore. It used to happen. I could just look in here. Frog manager. We've got two frogs. Okay. So if say I have a player like this, let's put it 0. Yeah, I've got this player. It's UI and the camera is the stuff that changes and the controls actually. I think I commented these in the settings. Settings, setup, settings, setup. That's going to be confusing. Yeah, so we need to change the camera, we need to change the controls, and we need to fuck this up. So there is a camera script already, but it's more like a camera controller. I just need to change like the transform of the camera. Actually, not even the transform, the this rect thing. What happens for player 1 is that it goes 2, 5, and 5, like this. Right? No, that's the wrong camera. Sorry. This camera, which is already set like that, so the height is what changes then. Right? That there is what changes, but see, it doesn't move the UI, so we need to see that too. So if I set that to 0, that's the bottom. 1 is not the top. 5 is the top. Okay, hang on. Viewport rect Y. This bottom 5 equals top. Okay. That's right, isn't it? Yeah, bottom 5 top. In this UI thing, as this panel, and that's where it's already doing it for mobile here. This thing will put it in the right spot, hopefully. So we need to run this after the camera, right? Actually, I don't think this offsets it up and down. It does it by scale, and it doesn't care if it's single player or split screen right now. I need to change that then. If single player, yeah. See, this will make the UI full instead of half. But what I want is to put, there's no like just some offset. There's rotation, the scale, there's no like offset position. So this top is basically just going to be set up here, like vaguely. And then the bottom, you know, in a similar position. Let's just put this to something sensible. 120, 1080, like that. Which weirdly makes it smaller, but okay. So the height of it, sort of what I'm doing in here, is the height. So that's 1080. No, if I can use the calculator. Where's the clear button? I've resized it, so I don't know where the clear button's gone. 1080 divided by 2 is 540, right? And then divided by the scale. Okay, so if I was to put positive, negative, so this is 540, and that's negative 540. What does that do? That hasn't done what I thought it was going to do. What if this is negative as well? Okay, yeah, that fills the whole screen. But that's not what I want. I want it to be 0. No. This is also negative 540. Okay. That way. No, that's also wrong. It doesn't make any sense. No, it needs to be a quarter, right? So if I divide this by 2, 270. It's still wrong. Why is that so? Because this needs to be a quarter as well. Right? No? I thought pushing it up a quarter would, because it's in the middle, right? So no, it needs to go up a third. 540 divided by 3 is 180. This looks wrong as well. Minus 20, no. 180 times 2. Let's try that. Let's trial and error. No. 180 times 2. No. 180 times 2. I should have just known that, honestly. Still not what I want. It's closer. I can't just put in a random number. I have to like get there from math. Because what if someone has a weird screen that's like, some people have like 16 with 10. Hmm. So if this is 0, this is 0, and this is 5. Right? Oh, that's rotation. Hold on. The camera is 0.25. This is in the middle. And I want to take this panel and I'll move it up. This is half the screen. But it's half the screen offset by half the screen, half of the screen, of a quarter of it. But I tried a quarter and it didn't work. What does it put in if I just do that? 380, 388. The closest I got was 360. 360 was 2/3. Maybe it's 3/4. So 540 divided by 4 times 3. No, 405. What happens if I put 405? Negative 405. See, it's gone over. It's gone slightly over. It's actually just 380, isn't it? Canvas, no, not canvas, panel. If I put it there, 387. How do I get this number? How do I get this number? Is it... It changes depending on what the game is, you know? So I set this to 16 by 9. This panel now has to go up a different amount. It goes up 85. But if it's 1920 by 1080, height is 1080. 1080 divided by 4. I want 380. It's 380-ish. 387 or something. How do I get 387 from 1080? $1080 divided by 2 is 540. So that's the height of this is 540. But the weird thing is, if I change this to 540, Sure, the top is at kind of the right place, but the bottom's at the same place. So if I bring the bottom up, it also moves the top. This, why is it like this? It's like it's working with like padding, but like the padding changes the padding of the other side. So you have to move it like halfway. So this is how far from there the top of the screen gets pushed down. The top of the screen is still like the same proportion. So we need to, pull it up. That's why it's negative. 508, isn't that? No, I'm getting 540. And this panel is 100%, it's half the height of this. Because it's 0.5. It's just the full thing, which is whatever this is, and then half of it. And what? Yeah, see, this formula undoes it. This will make it full screen, which works. But I don't want full screen. I want half screen, but up here. So move it up, you have negative and then positive the same amount. And somehow you need to come up with a number like 387 out of the height of this. How do I get 387? None of this is 387. The closest was 360. Is this even in pixels? Like, is this the unit? Is pixels? Surely, it must be. Why would it be anything else? Hmm. Hmm. It's just improv math. 387. If I do like that times 3. On 1080. 10, hold on. 1080 modulo. No, not modulo. If I just divide it by 387, that should tell me the number. It's like 2.7, right? No? Let's see, the inverse of divide. How do you find... No, do you do it the other way? It's clear. This one was clear. CE. Clear everything? 387 divided by 1080. Does this tell me? Man, I have no idea. I'm not very good at math. I'm better at like the concepts behind the math than actually doing any math. Um, but the problem is you have to do math to work out what this concept is. Which doesn't make any sense. I thought it would just be like, we'll move this up by like half the screen or something, but it's not. It's not even a quarter of the screen, it's not a third of the screen, it's just some arbitrary like proportion of the screen. $380? No. $385. Try that. Is it the other way around? 385. No. It's like a third and a bit. Why is it a third and a bit? It doesn't make any sense. If this was some random resolution, is it still a third and a bit? If it's like this 32 by 9, which is the phone's resolution. I can't use that because I need an actual pixel. I feel like 1000 by, I don't know, 842. Just some random number. Now how much does this move? 300. So if I do, what did I set this to? 842. 300 divided by 842. We get the same number. I could just hard code it to this 0.356 then and hope that it, works. I just want to know why it's that. 1 over. Where's the answer? 1 over answer. 0.356. Which is. Isn't that how you make it into, a fraction? Slightly less than a third. Doesn't make sense. Shouldn't it be slightly more than a third? A third 0.33. I guess when you multiply it's smaller, makes it. I don't know. My brain is getting confused with all these numbers. So if I pick some new random resolution, can I edit this? This is now going to be 500 by the width doesn't really matter, but whatever that is. Okay, we can't do that. 423. Okay, whatever. If I go 423 divided by 2.8, get 151. If I set this panel to 151, let's put it in the right spot. It works. I know it works. I just don't know why. I want like hard code some random value. I don't really understand. Whatever. Maybe I just do that. So what is it? 2.8. 2.8. For some reason, that is the ratio. That you divide the height. So it'd be height divided by 2.8 for some reason to get half the screen. Even though dividing it by 2 gives you the full screen. It just doesn't make any sense. Just basically copy this, but void UI to R to top half screen or bottom half screen. We'll just write top for now. Top. Which is going to be this. I don't know if the scale thing works still. I'll just copy this bit. 2.8 for some reason. Don't ask me why. I spent forever trying to work out why it's 2.8, but why is this wrong? Look. There we go. And then I want to duplicate this. Just put that in. Look. Yeah. 2 Fs. Just offset. Okay. If it was bottom, we'd give it negative offset, right? I don't like this name. Move UI to top. Sure. These need to be public. Yeah, I'm gonna reset this prefab back to how it's supposed to be. Get rid of this ridiculous freaking resolution. Okay. Is this camera not? Why is that not doing that? Hello? Okay. It can't be broken, surely. Now I just need to call these. Which we've got access to it here. And we've got settings, which is this. So switch. Dot. We actually have the frog. Is there an instance of this somewhere? Yep, cool. Also, is this instance in existence when we instantiate? No, not yet. To make the setting somewhere. If setup was which is this here. So we should just do it here. This makes sense. I was using it to get the information, but now I have to give it the information here, which doesn't make sense. Okay, my water's run out, so hang on, how long have we been going for? I'll do another half hour. So I'll fill my water up and then come back in a sec. Okay, got new water. I have a mint. Got intense mint. That's what it's called. It's called an intense mint. Okay, what was I doing? I'm gonna switch on some value we don't have from the settings. Do I even want this right now? I'm thinking no. I'm thinking this is just a variable here. Where does this get called? In the factory. And we have the start settings here, which you could just pass in. So just want to know view mode. Listen to this. We have this view mode. View mode. set this up. Okay. So we know if we're single player or we're in split screen and which split screen we are. I don't think we need the settings. Because that's exactly what this was holding. Where's this in here? I'm just going to delete it. Goodbye. Goodbye, sweet moon men. Save. I need to go to the frog and get rid of this because it doesn't exist. And the setup. And this doesn't exist. Cool. Why is that narrow now? Doesn't make sense. Oh, wait. The view mode was in the settings. Hmm. Well, it's going to be here. But no. For some reason. We need to make this again. View. Have I been spelling view wrong the whole time? Is that V-I-E-W? V-E-I-W? Hang on. Yes, I have. V-E-I-W. Wait, this results for both of them. View or view. The word listed above, view, is probably the correct spelling. With the okay. I thought it wasn't sure. It was like the definition. Yeah, so it's I before E in it. It looks really weird. Like that looks better than, I don't know. It's gonna be wrong everywhere now. Actually, let's do this in a more clever way and just rename it later. Single top bottom, and now if I rename, it'll do everything. Cool. Why is this wrong? Because this is public, and it needs to be somewhere else. I'll put it here. And then the factory should still have it. Rockstar instances. Where did I just put it in? Rockstar instances. You have Rockstar instances. I put you. Why didn't that update? Because it was inside the class. Great. View mode. View mode doesn't exist. Start settings. View mode. Seems really weird, but that's what I'm going with, I think. That is really weird. There's no other way to do it that isn't weird, because even if I make a variable here, it's essentially the same thing. You set the variable here and then you use it. But this is just in a place that makes more sense. Because the view mode has nothing to do with the factory. Telling the factory, hey, this is your view mode, and then immediately changing it when you tell it to create a new frog, that doesn't make sense. Having frog start settings makes more sense to me. And like, these are all the settings for this next frog that we're making. And while we're making the frog, you know, you use that. I don't know, it's just a result of this, basically what this comment says. Workaround. So we got that. We get to here, cool. And then we want to do HUD dot one of these things. Here at the top, here at the bottom, or just not that. This is a magic number right now. Const float position ratio based on height. I don't know. Divided by height offset ratio. Screen height offset. Wait. Stupid F. Height offset. Y offset ratio. It's less means the same thing. Negative. Like, that was the negative one, right? One of them was negative. No. It's negative here. Okay, that's fine. Okay. See it up. Want to not do anything there. Dot move you up the top. Dot move you at the bottom. Let's see. I'm not quite sure what I'm expecting here, but hold up. This isn't right. I need to turn this off. Clear. Go to the menu. Oh, you got errors. Is everything saved? Yep. I before E. There we go. Compiler. Menu. Just make sure that does work. Single player. Yep, all good. Split screen. Huh. That's not right. If I go to this specific resolution. So let's set it to. I need to reorganize these. Frog manager. Player. Is this the top one or the bottom one? Wait a minute. That one is. That's not what I was expecting at all. One of them is maxed out. And the other one is, not. So I'll say, let me just give it a negative. One of these negatives is wrong, I think. Why is the bottom a negative? It shouldn't be. See, there it would be right. How do they both become negative? In what situation does that happen? Offset, which is one value, is... I think the interface for this is really weird. Like, it's not even named at the same time. This is offset max and offset min. Offset max is over here. It's this left and top value. And then min is right and bottom. No, it's not even that. It's max is top and right. And then min is... Oh my god. Min is bottom and left. Who did this? Who put this together? That's ridiculous. So it's doing that right now. When it gets anything. Which is correct if we're making it full screen. So it's correct for this. Do I need different signs? Do I need to duplicate this every time? But then why is this other one fine? Like, if I turn this one off. This one just shrunk. UI. So up top, that one I want to be like that. But isn't that what it says? Negative offset, offset. So that's what that came in. How does that work? So there's some situation where you give it a negative number here, and then both of these are the same, and then in another situation, if you give it a positive number, they're different, or the other way around. Why? Why is this so obscure? You already have to write it this really weird way. We say new vector 2 every time. And again, it's not even called the same variable. And that's an x and a y, even when this is a left and a top. It's terrible. Okay. Maybe we just copy paste these. Because this is a terrible design on Unity's part. I don't think I want these to have negatives. Maybe that'll work. Right, one of them needs to be the opposite. So that. That's so weird. Did I save? Okay. There we go. So the UI is in the right place. It's probably the wrong scale. Let's just try this with. She's probably scaled wrong because I picked this. I put it 16 by 9. It shouldn't do that. Split screen. Yeah, now we've got a good scale. Now it's all working. It's really loud because there's two frogs, so the sound is playing twice. There we go, yeah. You can see they're just starting to separate it in there. I need to change the camera and the controls. And I think this is basically done. Yeah, that's so weird. How they have the exact same input, the exact same prefab, with the same settings. But look, they've separated. It's bizarre. Okay, how long am I going for? Do another 10 minutes. I was thinking now would be a good time to stop because I know exactly what I'm going to do next. It's always, you always want to stop when you know what your next thing is, so then you can just start back up again. The next thing is just moving the camera, which should be pretty easy. Should put in maybe a new script. Because it doesn't need to know any of this. Essentially, it's just going to have these functions, but move the camera. Although if I just stick it in these functions, is it not simpler? That would make sense, because if you're moving the camera, you'd want to move the UI with it. So let's field camera. So grab a camera, and new. Kind of it. Cool. So this little notepad thing I had before. This is. I need to change the other value. This is viewpoint rect Y, and the other one is something else. Camera. Viewport rect H, which is 0.5, splits it in half. So it makes it half. So it should be that by default. Okay. So can I do just in here camera dot no camera dot rect dot y. Can I set this? Top is 0.5. This is an error. Cannot modify because it's not a variable, even though it says get set. we have to do this thing where we go camera.rect equals new rect. Cool. Windows, what are you doing? And then I think it's just 0. 0. And then what is it? 0.25? No, 0, 0. No, 0, 0 is top. 0, 0 is bottom, so 0.5 is top. What's wrong? Here's new rect. You want a vector 2 inside of your vector 2, 0, 0.5. No? Now what's wrong? Now you can't what do you want? It's not even telling me. Bracket. No? New rect. Free overloads. I want to see what these overloads are. Source, position, and then size. Or just X, Y with height. Okay. X, Y, which is that. Oh, yep. And I keep minimizing. Width height is 1 and 0.5. Okay, so I do this here, and this is 0. I'll bet this is wrong. I'll bet it's not named the same as it is in the inspector. Could be really dumb. She probably is XY with height. Split screen. Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. That's fine. Player. We want to find where the UI script is. I think it's on the canvas. UI canvas. Frog HUD. Here we go. We want this camera. Where's the save button? Save. Hey. Okay. It's working. Now I just need to do the controls. And that should be good. Okay, 3 hours. Let's make a commit and call it a day. Deleted some stuff, edited some stuff. I don't know. This is camera and UI settings PC. Cool. Okay, that's enough coding for me for today. I'll do something else. Maybe I'll play some City later. Maybe. See. I probably will. Probably stream it. Great. That's all from me. Thanks for watching. Good yard and fair tea.